Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Anggriani. I'm from English Education Department 5th semester. In this video, I will share my vocabulary in English in academic matters that I think are difficult or incorrect in pronunciation. Okay, first this word. Acquire. I found it difficult because I read the letter Q, like acquire, but it should be acquire. But I often read acquire. And next, with the same problem with the letter Q, equate, but it should be equate. And next, subsequent, but it should be subsequent. I often read without E, so I don't read the E, like subsequent. Next, appropriate. I found the difficult in pronouncing it because when the letters P and R meet, it's hard to pronounce. So I have to slow down. Appropriate. And apparent. Pursue. But it should be pursue. And next, the word contrary, arbitrary, temporary. I found it difficult in pronunciation it because there are two R, so I must to be slow. Contrary, arbitrary, temporary. Differentiate. I often read differentiate, but it should be differentiate with the letter C, but I often read with the letter T, differentiate. And next, I often read hierarchical, but it should be hierarchical. And then it's hard to ambiguous, and analogs. And next, this word, I get confused a lot, like this. I often read farther, and this I often read further, but should be it is further, and this is farther. And next, advertisement. I often add the letter B between the letter R and T, like advertisement. Nonetheless, nevertheless, but it should be nonetheless, nevertheless, but I often read nonetheless, nevertheless. And next, this word, I think it's hard when I say deteriorate. And next, I often read genre, but it should be genre. genre. Next, mischievous. Next, vehicle. I often read it with the letter F, so that's mistake I often do. So I should be read vehicle. Next, environment, but it should be environment. Per case. I often read per case, but it should be purchase. Next, occupation. I often read occupation, but I'm wrong. It should be occupation. Next, inevitable. It should be inevitable. And this, fluctuate. It should be fluctuate. And then predominantly. I must be slow. Predominantly. Next, enormous. It should be enormous. And this, sequence. The problem with the letter K too, I often read sequence, but it should be sequence. And next, exposure. And next, acknowledge. It should be without read the letter W. Acknowledge. Sustainable. Revenue. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.